Let's be brutally honest here. Men are often only appreciated after they're gone. It's almost like some women don't realize what they had until it's already walked out the door, shut it, and left no forwarding address. And here's the twist: it's not because he was perfect, it's because he was consistent, present, and real. In today's world, many women are caught in a fantasy loop, chasing emotionally unavailable men, glorifying toxicity, and labeling masculine consistency as boring. Meanwhile, the man who stayed loyal, the one who actually cared, who tried and gave, gets overlooked, doubted, or worse, disrespected. But guess what? That same boring guy she took for granted starts becoming the standard the moment he walks away. Suddenly, silence hits differently. The late night texts stop. The attention dries up. The emotional safety net, gone. And that's when the shift happens, when she starts missing the man she didn't value when she had him. Fellas, you need to hear this loud and clear. You teach people how to treat you. And when you allow yourself to be taken for granted, whether out of love, loyalty, or fear of loss, you're sending the message that you don't value yourself either. But when you finally walk away, that's when reality slaps hard. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't about ego, revenge, or playing games. This is about knowing your worth. This is about recognizing that your value doesn't decrease just because someone else couldn't see it. And if you've ever been the man who gave, stayed, and sacrificed only to be met with indifference or disrespect, then this one's for you. So in this video, we're going to break it all down. Why women start missing the man they took for granted. The reasons, the shifts, the regrets, and the moments that hit them the hardest. Let's talk facts. Let's talk experience. And most importantly, let's talk like men. 1. She realized no one else cared like he did. Let's get something straight. Most women don't lose the man. They lose the one man who actually gave a damn. And it doesn't hit right away. It creeps in when everything around her starts feeling shallow. See, when a man is solid, emotionally available, supportive, and genuinely invested, it's easy to take him for granted. Why? Because he's always there. He always checks in, he listens, he shows up. After a while, his effort feels automatic to her, like it's just part of the background. She stops noticing it. Then he's gone. At first, she's unbothered, maybe even relieved. But eventually, she starts talking to other guys, trying to fill that emotional gap. And that's when she realizes they don't care like he did. These new guys barely listen, don't remember what she says, and definitely aren't protecting her heart. They're there for the fun, the moment, not the connection. Suddenly, his good morning texts weren't annoying, they were thoughtful. His emotional check-ins weren't clingy, they were rare. And his loyalty? That was a gem she didn't recognize. That's the moment it hits her. What she had wasn't regular. And now that it's gone, it's starting to haunt her. She starts replaying memories, overthinking his silence, and realizing she pushed away a man who made her feel safe, without even knowing how rare that really is. He wasn't trying to impress her with flashy things. He didn't play games. He was just consistent. And that's the one thing most men out here are not. She realizes too late that attention is easy to get, but care? Real care? That's rare. And the painful part? He's not chasing anymore. She sees him leveling up, minding his business, maybe even loving someone else. And suddenly, everything he did becomes golden in her mind. Because now she knows. Nobody else is checking on her the way he did. 2. Loneliness exposes emotional voids. It doesn't hit when you leave. It hits when the silence stays. At first, she might feel empowered. She's got options. Attention is everywhere. Social media DMs, flirty texts, nights out. On the surface, it looks like she's moved on, but deep down, something's missing. And it's not the crowd, it's the connection. What a lot of men don't realize is that loneliness doesn't show up when she's surrounded. It shows up when she's alone with her thoughts. That's when your absence becomes real. That's when the space you once filled starts to echo. Because you weren't just a person. You were presence, consistency, and emotional safety. You knew when something was off. You could hear it in her voice. You read her silence better than others read her words. And now, even with all the attention she gets, no one is truly seeing her. They might look, but they don't notice. They might flirt, but they don't feel. They might stay the night, but they don't stay through the storm. And that's where the regret creeps in. That's when she starts scrolling back through old messages, playing old voice notes, watching your stories just to feel some connection. Not because she's still in love, but because she's finally seeing the difference between company and connection. See, emotional voids don't get filled with noise, they get louder. And when the one man who made her feel grounded is no longer available, that void becomes a reminder, a mirror, a reflection of everything she didn't appreciate when she had it. And here's the truth: loneliness doesn't mean no one's around, it means no one understands. And if you were the one who did, then trust this: your absence isn't just noticed, it's felt deeply. 3. Temporary attention doesn't equal love. She thought attention would replace affection, that if enough people were checking for her, it would fill the space you left behind. And at first, it almost works. Likes, replies, compliments, they rush in fast, and for a moment, it feels like she didn't lose anything. But then comes the crash, because attention fades and love doesn't. What most people don't realize is that attention is loud, but shallow. It's easy to give and even easier to fake. Anyone can slide into her messages. Anyone can comment, "You're gorgeous." But not everyone is staying up at 2 a.m. talking about her dreams. Not everyone is showing up when she's stressed out and barely holding it together. Not everyone is patient when she's overthinking and emotional. You were. What you gave wasn't just presence, it was depth. You didn't just look at her, you saw her. And even if she couldn't say it back then, it's clear now. The surface level stuff can't compete. The world is full of attention. What's rare? Intention. Now she's realizing that just because someone texts her doesn't mean they care. Just because someone flirts doesn't mean they'll stick around. Just because they take her out doesn't mean they're emotionally invested. She mistook being noticed for being loved, and she's feeling the difference now. The truth is, she had something most women secretly want but aren't ready for: real love, real care, and real peace. But because it wasn't flashy or chaotic, it didn't feel exciting at the time. It felt too easy, too available, too secure. Until she stepped into a world of unstable, half-hearted connections and realized that what you gave her was rare. You didn't just give her attention, you gave her emotional presence. And that's something you can't fake, can't replace, and definitely can't find in a random DM. 4. He stopped chasing, now she's confused. Here's where it flips. You stopped chasing and suddenly she's the one watching you. It's funny how that works. As long as you were calling, texting, showing up, proving yourself, she felt in control. She thought she had time. She thought you'd always be there, always waiting, always trying. But then something changed. You pulled back, you stopped explaining yourself, you stopped checking in, you stopped caring about her hot and cold behavior. And just like that, her comfort turned to confusion. That's the thing. Men wake up too, and when they do, it's powerful. You realized your worth. You saw how much energy you were giving without getting it back. You saw how she expected everything and gave little in return. So you stopped overextending. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. Now she's sitting with the silence, wondering why your name doesn't pop up anymore, checking your stories, asking mutual friends, because the attention that once felt automatic is gone. The effort you used to give without hesitation disappeared. And here's where men mess up. Some of you try to teach her a lesson, but this isn't about games. It's about growth. You're not pulling back to punish her. You're pulling back to protect your peace. The chase is over. She's no longer being pursued like a queen because she didn't act like one when she had the crown. It's time men stop letting themselves be drained just to prove they care. Caring doesn't mean chasing someone who clearly stopped appreciating you. It means knowing when to walk away, even from someone you loved. Here's the truth. Your absence will teach her what your presence never could, because now, without all the noise and effort, she's left with nothing but the question, why did he stop? And the answer? Simple. You woke up. You finally saw that chasing someone who doesn't see you is the fastest way to lose yourself. 5. She mistook consistency for weakness. A lot of men don't realize this, but being stable, consistent, and emotionally present is often seen as soft until you're gone. See, we live in a time where chaos is mistaken for passion. If you weren't yelling, ignoring her, or making her jealous, she thought you didn't care enough. You were too calm, too steady, too available. And instead of appreciating that, she read it as weakness. But here's the wild part: your consistency was strength. It takes a real man to show up when it's not convenient, to stay when things get rough, to choose loyalty over ego. But because you weren't playing mind games, because you weren't making her compete for your attention, she got used to it, took it for granted, thought she could do better. Now she's out there dealing with men who go ghost for days, who treat her like an option, who make her question her worth every other week, and suddenly your boring consistency looks like emotional gold. That's the trap. She confused predictability with weakness. She didn't understand that real men don't create storms, they calm them. She didn't know that the man who's not trying to impress everyone else is often the one most grounded in who he is. You weren't trying to prove anything, you were just solid. And now? Now she's learning the hard way that inconsistency isn't excitement, it's instability. And all those guys who give her butterflies, they're also giving her headaches. Meanwhile, you've moved different. You've stayed grounded, you've grown. And now she sees that the safe man she overlooked was actually the strongest one she ever had. Here's a hard truth some men need to hear: you don't need to become more toxic to be respected. You need to stop giving your strength to those who can't recognize it. View 6, friends, stop hyping her up. Reality kicks in. In the beginning, she had a whole crowd behind her. Friends telling her she could do better, hyping her up to leave, saying she deserved more. Some of them didn't even know what you brought to the table. They just liked the idea of her being single and free. But here's the thing: that hype doesn't last. When the group chats get quiet, when her friends get into relationships of their own, when the Saturday nights out start feeling repetitive, that's when the shift begins. Suddenly, the girl who was being cheered on to walk away starts questioning what she walked into. And here's where it stings. When those same friends stop validating her choices, she starts seeing things clearly. Not through emotion, not through pride, but through silence. Because now there's no one there to blame you, no one there to say, you'll find better. Just her, alone with her decisions. See, it's easy to be influenced by a crowd when you're emotionally charged. But when the dust settles and real life sets in, that crowd won't be there at 2 a.m. when she starts missing the way you loved her. She remembers how you handled her moods, how you gave even when you weren't getting much back, how you kept things steady when she was caught in chaos. And none of the people who told her to move on are showing her how to replace that. This is why men need to stop measuring their worth by how loud she's talking now. Give it time. Because when the noise dies down and the people hyping her up fade out, what you did and who you were becomes loud all on its own. And that's when she realizes you weren't the problem. You were the one who stayed solid when everyone else just stayed loud. 7. The dating market humbled her. She thought she had options, and to be fair, she probably did. But what she didn't realize is that having options doesn't mean having quality. At first, it's exciting. New attention, new energy, new faces. Everyone seems interested, everyone seems fun. But then she starts noticing patterns. The guys she's meeting, they're inconsistent, selfish, emotionally unavailable, full of smooth talk but lacking real action. No depth, no effort, no intention. She starts comparing, and not just the way you treated her, but the way you made her feel: the security, the peace, the space to be herself without judgment. And now she's realizing that kind of energy isn't common. In fact, it's rare. The dating pool might look full, but the water is shallow. She went looking for something better and found more games, more confusion, and more disappointment. That's the humility moment. When she realizes the man she left behind wasn't perfect, but he was present. He was real. He was solid. And that's exactly what the dating scene is missing. Because now it's not about just being wanted. It's about being respected, being understood, being valued. And those men out there, most aren't offering any of that. She used to think there was better out there, but now she knows you were better. And she couldn't see it until she stepped into a world that doesn't even know what real love looks like anymore. 8. She sees him glow up without her. Nothing hits harder than watching the man she took for granted become everything she doubted he could be without her. At first, she assumed you'd struggle. Maybe she thought you'd fall apart, start begging, or stay stuck. But instead, you leveled up. Quietly, consistently, and confidently. And now she's watching. Maybe from a distance, maybe through mutuals, maybe from behind a burner account. But she's watching. New mindset, new energy, new look, focused, driven. You're not just doing better, you're becoming the man she never believed you'd be. And the part that stings the most, she's not a part of the story anymore. That glow up isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional. You've stopped chasing. You're not trying to prove your worth, you're walking in it. And now she's seeing what she lost. Not just who you were, but who you're becoming. And she knows you were building this version of yourself even when she couldn't see it. Now, every post, every win, every move you make is a reminder, not just of you, but of what she gave up. And the silence, that part hurts the most because you're not rubbing it in. You're not throwing shots. You're just living. And that makes it even more powerful. You're showing her what it looks like when a man turns pain into purpose, when a man chooses growth over revenge. And now your glow up has become her biggest regret. 9, emotional guilt begins to grow. It creeps in slowly, not through drama, not through a breakdown, but through those quiet moments she doesn't talk about when she's alone, reflecting, and replaying everything she overlooked. At first, she convinced herself she did the right thing, that she didn't lose anything, that maybe you were too much or too soft or not exciting enough. But now, the weight of her decisions is starting to hit. And it's not because of you, it's because of how she acted when you were all in. She remembers the times you showed up and she didn't care, the times you tried to communicate and she rolled her eyes, the way you apologized just to keep the peace while she held grudges. It all starts to surface, not in anger, but in guilt. Because now she sees the truth. You weren't the weak one. She was ungrateful. She starts to feel it in waves. That tight feeling in her chest when she sees something that reminds her of you. That quiet urge to reach out, but not knowing what to say. Because deep down, she knows she had a real one, and she fumbled it. This kind of guilt doesn't go away easily. It lingers. And the more you stay silent, the more it grows. Because now she's not just thinking about what she lost, she's thinking about how little she appreciated it while she had it. That's when emotional guilt turns into regret. That's when the memories hit differently, the jokes, the support, the love that came with no conditions. And she realizes you were never the problem, you were the lesson. 10. She finally understands his silence. There's something powerful about silence, especially when it comes from the man she once thought would never go quiet. At first, she took your silence as ego or maybe even weakness. She thought you were just being petty or trying to get her attention. But time passed. You didn't lash out. You didn't post bitter quotes. You didn't beg or explain or chase. You just disappeared. Calmly, quietly, completely. And that's when it clicked. Your silence wasn't a tactic, it was a decision, a shift, a sign that you'd outgrown the cycle, that you weren't waiting around to be seen or valued. You had finally chosen yourself. That silence became louder than any argument. It spoke volumes. It showed her that your peace mattered more than her validation, that your absence had more weight than your presence ever did when she took it for granted. Now she sits with the space you used to fill, wondering what you're thinking, who you're becoming, if you've truly moved on. And the longer you stay silent, the clearer it becomes. You did love her, but you loved yourself more. And that's what hits hardest. Because she realizes now your silence isn't empty, it's full. Full of growth, full of healing, full of boundaries she never thought you'd set. And the man she once thought would never stop trying, he's now the one she can't reach. Here's the hard truth. The man she took for granted becomes the man she can't stop thinking about when he finally stops thinking about her. If you're that guy, the one who gave fully, stayed loyal, and loved hard, understand this. Your value doesn't decrease just because someone else couldn't see it. The more you level up, the more she'll look back. Not because you were perfect, but because you were real. And these days, real is rare. So I want to hear from you. Have you ever been the man who was taken for granted? What finally made you walk away? Drop it in the comments. I'll be going through every single one. Let's talk. Man to man. Experience to experience. You're not alone in this. I've got more coming your way, and believe me, we're not done talking about things they don't want us to say.